Hey, it's time for Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit Misery, starring Kathy Bates and James Caan. So grab your nearest old-fashioned typewriter and sit down. Take a listen.
Hey everybody, welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Hello.
And today we are talking about Misery, directed by Rob Reiner, written by William Goldman, and I bring that up because this is our second Rob Reiner, William Goldman production.
Oh, what was it? What was
The Princess Bride.
Oh, The Princess Bride, of course.
Isn't that wild?
That is so weird.
So, Misery, 1990. I believe this came out in
1990, yeah.
Maybe October, November of 1990. Christina, when was the first time you saw this movie?
I think I rented it. I don't think I saw it in the movies.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I did. But oh my gosh, I remembered it so well.
So you'd only seen it once?
I've only seen it once.
Wow.
And it was, it was just such a scary movie. Like, it was so well done.
Mm-hmm.
So freaking scary. So suspenseful. And I just remembered so many different parts of it that just, like, stayed with me, like, all these years.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really well done. What about you, Brian?
Oh, that was so quick.
Yeah, it was quick. It was quick.
Quick.
I can't get too much into it because I'm going to start talking about now.
Oh,
I just remember loving it and being so impressed with the acting.
Oh my god! So yeah, I have to be honest. I think I did see it at a movie theater, and I loved it. It was in just who is Kathy Bates?
Right?
Where did she come from? And oh my god, I hope she wins the Oscar. And she would. She went on to win the Oscar for this, but it was such a yeah, I just remember being like truly riveted, like watching this movie, and I think this is worth mentioning. At least when I went to the movie theater to see this, the crowd was like so invested.
Oh,
there were things where people were like, like people yelling, like gasping, like just that, like being part of an audience that gasps, and like, oh geez, you hear like murmurings in the audience, like when she's like losing her.
It was such a reactionary movie, too. Like you really reacted to so much.
Well, it's all. I mean, James Caan. It's all reaction.
Yeah.
And but it's like, I mean, it is. It's like she's just this. You don't know what you're gonna get.
No idea.
You don't know what's gonna happen from one scene to the next, and it is so terrifying. And that was my feeling then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So should we just dive in?
Let's
Shall
dive
we
on in. This one I was really looking forward to.
Okay.
I was really looking forward to revisiting it. It's not a terribly long movie. It's about an hour and a half.
I think it's a little longer. I think it's like an hour and 50. I could be wrong about that. I think so. Anyway, an hour and 48.
We'll have to look that up.
Okay.
I'm just curious because it did seem shorter than that. But I was really looking forward to seeing this and sitting down, and it did not disappoint to me. It did not disappoint. I forgot actually a lot about it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Oh, he has a smirk on his face, folks. It must be an hour and 48 minutes.
I was way off. It was an hour and 47 minutes.
See, I told you. The smirk gave it all away. I wish you guys could have seen it. If smirks could speak, it was la-dee-da.
Oh my god, I'm so... What? Christina, how many times do I say, you're so right, Christina, you're so right.
No, it was
Give me something.
No. You were so right, Brian.
I watched it yesterday, that's why I know this.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. No, it was the smirk. It wasn't the fact that you were right, it was the smirk was hilarious. Right. Anyway, this movie totally did not disappoint. I forgot a lot about it, and what was nice that I was happy that I forgot a lot about it, because it was still, like, it was surprising to me. Like, I remembered a lot. Mm-hmm. I remembered some of the key moments. I remembered her showing up in the middle of the night at the end of his bed. I remembered hobbling.
Yeah.
I remembered a lot of it, but I forgot a lot about it, which was so great. Mm-hmm. that's one of the problems I have a lot of times when I'm revisiting a horror movie, because I know what's happening, and you don't have that same effect. Yeah. I was really, really pleased.
Similarly, so so my thing was, when we talked about revisiting this, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh God, but I already know everything. Like, because it is so suspenseful. But when you see it once, you're like, okay, so you know how this is going to shake out. And does it have like a rewatchability to it, that it's still as suspenseful, that it's still as scary? And so I haven't seen this movie probably since 2 years after it came out. I probably watched it once on VHS. I saw it once in the movie theater, like I said, and once on VHS, and that was it. And I think, though, that, and so revisiting, I was like, no, I hope it still is, like, I hope I'm genuinely, like, enthralled by this. And, oh my God, I really, really was. It's fucking scary.
It is. She is so fucking good. She is unbelievable. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Even though you know spoiler alert, the whole thing, like, is that he doesn't die. But even though you know that, like, you know that going in, but you don't really know what she is going to do, because he doesn't get out unscathed. I mean, he'll have a limp for the rest of his life.
He's lucky. He can walk.
Everywhere he looks at the waitress and he sees her face. I mean, like, at the end. But it's like, even though you know how this is going to shake out, even if you read the book, although in the book he gets his foot chopped off. But you know that, because she is so unpredictable, and because it's so well acted, it is genuinely still thrilling.
Terrifying.
Like, it's such a good thriller.
Terrifying. Yeah. I was still right back in it. I don't think I was any calmer in that. Honestly, in a lot of ways, I was a little more on edge, because I knew, when he put that penguin back, I'm like, Jesus, no, turn it around.
Yeah.
But she was phenomenal in this movie. You believed that she was just completely off her rocker.
Yeah. Well, I did forget. So really quick, the only other person that was mentioned for this role, and I'm so glad it wasn't, and you probably know this, but Bette Midler. Bette Midler was in talks, and then she thought it was just too violent and didn't want to do that to her image. She regrets it. She said it was the stupidest decision of her career. I don't know. I think it really helps that you don't know who Kathy Bates is.
Yes.
Because you don't really know.
I wouldn't have taken her seriously, if you're thinking about it, right? I wouldn't have taken that role as serious. If it was
Bette Midler, I think it would have been like almost like a little too shticky, like horror comedy almost.
Yeah.
But because it's Kathy Bates, and most people were not familiar with her. She's mostly a Broadway actress at that point. But you don't know what her voice sounds like. You don't know what her mannerisms are. So you were learning this at the same time Paul is the character.
Yes.
James Caan's character. And you don't know her inflections. But Midler, you know everything about her. But Midler, you know what her voice sounds like and how she acts in her mannerisms. And it would almost be a comfort there. And it's also, it's Bette Midler. We love her.
Right.
But with Kathy Bates, the mystery of her, just as an actress, as a real person, let alone as Annie Wilkes, it is so terrifying. And I'm telling you, it's weird moments for me where it's like when to me, and I'm curious to your most scariest.
Yeah.
When she's talking about Rocket Man. And she's talking about going to the movies, and that there were these little mini serial cliffhangers.
Yes.
And every week she would go back for the adventures of Rocket Man. And the last one was really crazy because Rocket Man's trapped in a car, and it goes off the cliff, and it crashes and explodes. The following week, Annie has the story of going back, and she's a kid, she's a child, and she watches that right before the car crashes off the cliff. Rocket Man jumps free. And she stands up. She's like, they cheated us. He didn't get out of the cockamamie car. And just her frustration.
She's so frustrated.
But as a middle-aged woman
God.
Now, she can't let that disappointment go. That they pulled a fast one on her. And she is bitter. Her husband has left her.
Well, didn't
Oh my god, that's so weird.
Phone. That was weird.
For no reason.
He died. He died.
Was that one of the news clippings?
Yeah.
Which one was it?
It was one of the first news clippings. It was before the clippings of the babies. It was something, Wilkes.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Oh my god. Okay, yeah. All right, cool. You're right. No, you're right. But anyway, so but I think there's a lot of those moments where and then she spills the soup. She's really angry.
That's one of my scariest moments. Because that's the first time you see that side of her.
The swearing.
And you see that she's really unhinged. Mm-hmm. At first, you're looking at her and there's something up. Mm-hmm. With her socially. She's a little odd. Mm-hmm. She's a little childlike. Mm-hmm. But that spilling of the soup on the bed, that was the first time you see that violent side mm-hmm. and that uncontrollable side. And you're just fuck. Mm-hmm. And you see Paul's face and he's like, fuck. What is happening right now? And how am I going to get the hell out of here? So that was the first moment where I'm like, it was terrifying. Mm-hmm. But then that Rocket Man story really put it over the edge. It was just she was so good.
Yeah.
Oh God. And then the other part that was really terrifying is when she was, when it was raining.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And she was severely depressed. Yeah. Severely. And she just says, I might have written it down.
I wrote it down. That's so funny. I did. I have this gun. She shows the gun in her robe. She's like, I have this gun. Sometimes I think about using it. Then there's a long pause. And she says, I better go now. And then she pauses again and says, I might put bullets in it. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
It was
so...
I just want to hand her the Oscar. Just
right. You're trapped to a bed. You are trapped to a bed. You can't move your legs, and you're in this house. The only person that can take care of you is a psycho mm-hmm. who is so unhinged, and she is your only hope of staying alive, and you can't. And she even says, "If I die, you die. You better hope nothing bad happens to me." Oh my God, it is so well done. The dialogue is so good,
unbelievable. Chills.
And again, I've seen it before,
and she delivers. Yeah. She delivers these lines I mean, it was just so great. And he is really good in this. Mm-hmm. He can't move. Mm-hmm. And everything he is doing.
Anything with the legs, when he's like,
oh God, I was doing it right.
Oh my God, it's you feel.
When he pulled himself off the bed. Yes. Oh my God, I looked away. I had to look away. I'm like, oh my God. And then he hit a thump and you're like, my whole body. Whole body.
I've never broken a leg before, but
Jesus,
wow.
Me either. I don't want to now.
You felt
oh my God, he was so good. Did he win anything for this? I didn't look any of these awards.
I don't even know if he was
nominated. He should have. He absolutely should have. He was so good in this.
I think it was the only. I think her nomination. Yeah, that was it.
It was just him.
The only nomination, and he wasn't nominated. And
not the writing or anything.
That's the thing for me is the script is it's mostly just two characters talking to each other, and it's with very different things at stake, and it's so well written. And I'm really surprised it didn't get nominated. I
am too. I wonder who it was up against. That sometimes is a
still,
key.
It didn't even land in the top 5 scripts.
Well, sometimes there are some pretty strong movies. 1990, I don't know. I don't know. See. So, oh my God. So, what else? We're dropping all over the place. So, one thing that was annoying to me, I'll just say a couple of annoying.
Okay, sure.
Not really. I mean, I don't think we have a couple. I think I have one. Because everything was so good. I wrote down so many. Most of the stuff I wrote down were just quotes.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Christina, this is so funny. What? I'm only showing you because you just said it in the lead.
What'd you say?
Legs hit the floor.
Legs hit the floor. Oh my God!
Only because you just said it. I wrote it down. When his legs hit the floor and he groans.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. He's so good at this. That scene was amazing. When she pulls him from the car and gives him CPR, mm-hmm. It was not CPR. I think they could have done a better job with the CPR. It was it was very light. She didn't really touch him that much. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of unbelievable. I wished they didn't have that or they had done it better. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been fine if she just pulled him from the car and didn't give him CPR. It would have been fine.
It's funny. It's so funny because I didn't remember the CPR part the first.
It just bothered me. I'm certified in CPR, so I know what it takes. So
I think my thing was like, holy shit, she throws him over his shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, and I agree. I think if she had just dragged him, it would have been
dragged him, it would have been fine. And then when he was driving in the car, the background looked really fake. I didn't know if you noticed that at all.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it looked really fake. And I was like, they could have done a little bit better with that. But they weren't paying attention to that stuff.
Yeah, right.
You know, it wasn't for very long. And it was like kind of the beginning of the movie, though. So I was kind of disappointed. And I was like, oh no, is this not going to hold up?
Yep, I didn't notice that. But I will say, something I didn't like... because honestly, I loved it. I think I even liked it more than... I think I even liked it more now. But it's... I didn't like... There were a couple of scenes where the music revs up as she's losing her mind. Like when she gets into those moments. I didn't think it was necessary. Because of that, there are a couple of those scenes where she... The Rocket Man scene. They're not playing music in that scene. It's just her in the speech.
Yeah, it didn't need it.
Not... I don't know if they're playing music when she's at the window talking about when her husband left her. But I think they are playing music with the gun.
Yeah, I think it's just very...
subtle.
Subtle.
But there's that scene, I think it's the soup scene, where she's like, do I go up and say, hey, where's my effing this? And the music gets really loud. And maybe it's because it was the first time it happened it was needed. But I was like, trust that her acting will do the job. It doesn't... music... It doesn't always...
Well, I wonder, when do they put the music in? I'm not sure of this. I'm assuming they shoot the scenes and then they put the music in after.
Oh, way after.
So I'm wondering if it just needed a little punch up or something.
Well, someone thought it
Somebody
did.
thought that.
And I don't know. I think it would have been scarier without music.
Yeah, agreed. I think so too. I thought it was really funny when she acted like a pig.
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, that's another... I mean, again, totally messed up, totally unpredictable.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's super, super childlike, and sometimes she's just completely psychotic.
Well, when I remember, even way back when I saw it in the movie theater, the audience was laughing. They laughed at the pig thing. They laughed every time she said... There was a point where she kept saying, oh, Paul. She was so happy about something. She's like, oh, Paul, what's the name of that painting? He's like, the Sistine Chapel. She's like, yeah. Just that. And then she would say things like, I asked God about you. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, you don't want to involve God in any of this.
But I will, I have one more, I have two other little criticisms, is that, so there's a point where Paul becomes sarcastic, and I do wonder if that is... authentic. I wonder because she gets progressively scarier, but then there's a sort of a point where he's almost used to it, and he starts getting a little flip with her. He gives her the finger through the window. Yes,
it was after he got hobbled. It was after she hobbled him.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, bye, and I think he had just given up. At this point, I feel like he's just like, fuck it, I don't even care. If she likes me, I think he almost said, forget it. It's just done.
Yeah.
Because it was after all of his plans had fucked up.
That's right. And also though, but he also says
sorry,
something
I'm so dropping the F-bombs everywhere today.
You're a dirty bird. Dirty birdie?
There's not necessary to... Yeah, it's a dirty birdie.
But
lying old dirty birdie.
Lying old dirty birdie. So he makes a comment that she's like, oh, Paul, blah, blah, blah. So she gives him a compliment, and he's like, wow, I guess I should have burned my book a lot earlier. Or I guess I should burn more of my books. And he's super sarcastic, and she's like, oh no. There's and I'm like, I wonder, I guess maybe it needed some humor, because it's I just don't know if you would because you don't know you really don't know it sets her off.
Right.
And he's being flippant with her.
So it's the only two times that I can remember, and maybe you have more that you remember, but the only two times that I remember him being like that is right after he did those two major things.
Okay.
Burning the book.
Yeah.
And hobbling him.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like it was just that reaction to what had been done to him.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think with the hobbling, I think at that point he's just like, fuck you, and didn't care. And I believe that was pretty authentic. Like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
With the book, it was too early on.
Yeah.
And it was almost like that was the first time that she was like really, really scary.
Yeah.
So I did feel like this isn't the time to be sarcastic with her because she could just plunge something into your heart right now.
Right. When she's talking and she's squirting the lighter
and it's
fluid
it's like,
on
oh my god, right?
My God, it's so good.
It's so well done,
It's
so well done. And the look on his face when he had to burn that book.
Mm-hmm.
I felt I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
I really felt so bad for him. And he's like trying to get out of it. He's like, oh, well, that's fine. I can burn the book.
One thing I forgot, and I don't even know if I even really caught it that closely the first time, was she's very upfront about how she was watching the lodge. And do you remember when she's shaving him? And it's almost like, I'm like, I don't remember her saying that to him the first time.
I don't remember right now.
She's like, well, because he's like, well, I guess it was really lucky that you were out there.
Yeah. Yes, I do remember that.
I guess you could say I was following you. She's like, I know that you would go up there, and she's like, and sometimes I just sit out there and see the light up in the lodge, and know that you were creating a new Misery book, and and I would be the first one to go by. And so it's like sandwiched into other comments, but you really realize like, oh, she's stalking him.
Well, and that is something that I had forgotten about.
Yeah.
And I was happy to hear about it this time around and I'm like, oh good, she did say that. Because that was one of the things I'm like, how did she randomly find him? Yeah. And I did not remember that conversation. So yes,
because she lays it all out there.
Oh,
she lays it out, but she says that it's such a compliment to him, right? It's like it's like, oh, that's how much I love you, and
right, Well, she doesn't see anything wrong with it.
You know, oh my God, it's so scary.
Oh my God, and he's helpless, can't do anything. Broken arms, broken legs. Oh, crazy, crazy, crazy. So one of the most suspenseful moments of the entire movie is when he gets out of the bed, right?
Yeah.
Roaming around the house.
Yeah.
Looking for things.
In a wheelchair.
I
appreciated they were so realistic about him bumping into stuff and not being able to fit through certain doorways. And like, I'm glad it wasn't just him like whizzing through the house. And like, there were like real obstacles.
That was really good. And then he sees the phone. And of course, it's just, an empty phone case. I loved that his room was right next to the door. That, that she had to come in. I loved so much. I was on the edge of my seat, even though I knew what was happening. Yeah. I knew what was going to happen. I knew he was going to get in the bed safe and sound. I forgot he had stolen all those pills. So I was thinking he just saved the ones that he gave her. I forgot he stole like the whole sleeve. But I forgot like he had to get out of the wheelchair at one point. I mean... Oh, Shorty's back. Shorty. So much about that scene was so great. And then you see her coming back. Like, it was like a perfect, suspenseful scene. Just so much involved. And realistic.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. It's like, they have like the cat and mouse. Like, it was a cat and mouse story. It's like, but the cat and mouse are in the same room. I mean, it's really that well written. But I was glad that, and I said this to Carl too, because he's like, how'd you like it? And I said, I forgot, and I think the movie was really smart to do that with the older couple, Richard Farnsworth and Frances Sternhagen, who was the mother of
Charlotte,
Charlotte's
Sex and the City.
Charlotte's husband,
Charlotte's husband, right.
And Lauren Bacall. And actually, this is super minor.
I forgot Lauren Bacall completely.
This is super minor. I don't like in movies, and this movie does it, where they say a special appearance by.
Yeah.
It's like, appearance, she's a role. Like, she has a role. I know it's a big deal. I know it's a big
deal
with
it's
Lauren
something
Bacall.
That was written in her contract, I'm sure.
I know, but the thing is that... So, I watched the documentary after the movie, and Lauren Bacall's agent reached out and was like, do you think Lauren Bacall could come read for this role? She wanted to be part of it. So he's like, yeah, of course. And she's great. I think Ashley Lauren Bacall's great in this.
She's a perfect role for her.
And like, I love when she's calling and she's like, this might sound ridiculous, because it's like, she's this high-powered New York book publisher.
Yeah.
And she's like calling this little town for a missing persons report. I mean, it feels very real, and I like her style, and like she just seems like she is this person.
She definitely.
But I hate when movies do that. It's like special appearance, but it's like no, it's not an appearance. You're a role. You're in like 4 scenes of this movie. Like, and I hope it wasn't her behind that. Maybe I thought it was Rob Reiner being nice to her or something.
It seems like something an actress would.
Maybe
would demand.
So, but here's something else. I loved, but I loved them. I loved Richard Farnsworth and
it was so well. It was so needed,
so cute. I love how she puts her hand on his leg, and he's like, "When we're in this truck,
you're my deputy or something,
right?" It's so funny. And then I love when she's like, "Maybe he's out having an affair," and it's so funny.
They're so good together. Oh my god, they're so good. At one point, he says. He said something about the spice in in your relationship. Like she's sarcastic, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what was missing." That little. Oh, that's what. It's just the amount of sarcasm that gives our marriage the right amount of spice. I mean, I just love the two. They needed. It was so well needed, so much needed. That comic relief, loving relationship, fun, older couple.
Yeah. Well, I like when he kind of leaves her out of it because he feels like he's hot on the trail, and he's like, "Where's that piece of paper? Where's that quote? That quote that I wrote down?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "Well, I have a system," and like this paper's everywhere. and he's like, "Where is it?" And so lifting the papers, and he finds he's like, "Oh, here it is." And she's like, "What is it?" He's like, "Maybe it's nothing." And she goes, "Well, it's a good thing you found it then."
Yeah, so believable as an old married couple, right?
But something sad. Because I watched the documentary, they were talking about Richard Farnsworth in the past tense, and I was like, oh, I mean, I knew he was old, but I wanted to really find out how recently he died after that movie. So he died 10 years later, but he was 80, he got terminal cancer, and committed suicide.
Oh my god.
Because he got cancer, terminal. And I didn't remember the story at all. This is from 2000.
Oh,
but really sad.
That is sad.
Yeah, but I thought he was fantastic, and I did like one of the great little moments is when he's in the store talking to the guy, and he's like, "Has she bought anything weird lately?" He's like, "Paper." He's like, "Newspaper?" He's like, "No, typing paper." He's like, uh-huh. And he just turns around and like walks up the door.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing unusual about that, right?
Yep. And you really, because I didn't read the book.
No, me either.
But in that moment, and I'm telling you, I don't know what about this movie, but it really sustains that suspense. Because you're like, oh shit, he's gonna fucking save the day.
Yeah.
Like, and then it just falls. Then it is a bit of a trope where it's like that one person that could save the guy and they get killed.
Yeah.
But it's because it does feel like the movie's wrapping up, so you kind of feel like, oh no, he's going to save the old guys.
You do
they're not gonna
feel
kill,
like
they're not going to kill the old man. Come on.
He was like the comic relief.
He was the comic. No,
but you do feel like he's going to survive. You don't feel like they'd ever do that to this poor man.
So the other thing in the book, Virginia, Frances Sternhagen, doesn't exist.
Oh, okay.
They added her in, and I think it's very manipulative and very smart of this movie because he has a wife. There's more in my mind when I saw it the first time and recently. I was like, oh, they're not going to kill him. He has a wife. His poor wife's going to be a widow at
You know what's really funny about that, Brian, is I felt the same way, and when I remembered something bad happened. I remembered him finding him. But for some reason, I was thinking that she just, like, hit him over the head with something and just, like, knocked him out. I forgot. I mean, how could I ever forget that scene?
I forgot it, too, Christina.
How, though?
I thought she was going to hit him in the head and he was going to fall down the stairs.
Right, me too. I really felt like that was
Should
happening.
we say what happens if people forgot?
Should we not?
Maybe we shouldn't.
You know what? Let me tell you something. You guys watch this movie, and if you don't really remember what happens, you're going to be blown away that you did not remember what happened. Honestly, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Truly. I will never forget it again.
My heart was
right.
like just practically burst out of my chest.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was sad.
I will say one thing. This movie also did some manipulative camera work, and which I appreciated. Like, there's a lot of her face at times is very well lit, and she looks very friendly. And like sometimes the most beaming thing on her is her. And is her crucifix. Is her crucifix. I'm saying her cross. Jesus Christ.
Well, it is. Jesus.
Is her cross and her face. And I remember one point Carl had walked in and he's like, wow, she looks so young. And I'm telling you, I really kept forgetting it was Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
She is, I mean, just, I could just keep going on about her, but it's so good.
She's a gem, that one.
One funny thing. Do you know how old Paul is in this movie? Did you catch it?
No. God, how old?
45.
Oh, that's kind of believable.
You think he only 45?
What'd you think? Do you think he looked older
A little
or younger?
older. A little older. 50.
Well, he's been through a lot, Brian. Give him a break.
I guess in the very beginning. Did he look 45? I don't know.
I think I could see that.
Moisturize. That's all I'm going to say.
You and your moisturizer.
Do you think I look older than Paul Sheldon right now?
No, you do not.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I had to say.
That's all you needed to hear.
That's all you had to say, Christina.
That's all you.
This concludes our episode.
So, yeah.
I forgot about Liberace.
Oh my god, and so funny. Just another little element of just her weirdness and funniness and
yes. However, he also sings 4 songs in the soundtrack. I mean, it's.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
No, I shouldn't say it that way. There are 4 Liberace songs in the soundtrack.
That's interesting.
But it's funny. I forgot about the Liberace obsession.
The other part that was so great was when he wanted to try to drug her.
The audience, when that happened, 1990...
Did everybody scream?
1990, clear as day. When the fucking wine fell over, the audience groaned.
Oh.
They were like...
I groaned out loud.
Like this helpless groan. It was amazing.
What the fuck?
I'm like, fuck, that was like a week of work.
That was it.
That was
a lot of work involved. Now he's back to square one.
My God.
Square one. And then he gets out again. He gets the knife.
Yeah.
Sticks that under the bed. And then that terrifying...
She's like, you're looking for this?
Terrifying scene where she just shows up in the middle of the night. He wakes up and she sticks that needle in his arm.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up again and she's just standing there. And he's just completely... And she found everything. She found the key.
Yeah.
She found the knife.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. All because of the penguin.
That stupid fucking penguin.
Yeah. It's chilling. This might be one of my favorite revisits, to be honest.
I think this is one of my favorite revisits, for sure.
Because I'm so shocked it held... it's... First of all, I think... I think because of the way it's engineered, is that, this movie still holds up today because it could totally happen today.
Absolutely.
I know we say, our phones. But, if you're captured by a stalker, they're probably just going to smash your phone to bits. And then where will you be? You're lost in the woods in Maine. I mean, so it's just done so well. And
well, the phone could have been left in the car too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right, absolutely.
Right? I mean, they just would have found the car earlier, but
right, yeah, because the phone. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways. It's a very simple, scary story. You said something though about the when she just goes through everything about the key and the knife and oh god, and it's just so bleak, and you just feel like
and you see his exactly. He's just like, damn it. You just not... Even the audience, what the hell? And even me, I was just like, how the hell does he get out of this fucking thing? I don't forget.
I think that's what I was going to say before, is that what I think helps is that these little side characters of the deputy and the older couple, Lauren Bacall's character, they're interspersed this movie in really good ways because it shows that time is passing. The typewriter does that to a degree as well, those typing scenes. But it also gives you a break. Because there is an intensity that's like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I forgot how they had the break, but I was, and that's one of the things I was kind of worried about. I was like, is this going to be too intense? And yeah, you're right.
Oh, one more thing. So, I apparently, you have little quotes for yourself, you say things. I realized that one of them was from Misery, and I used to say this a lot.
Was it? Cockadoodie?
No.
No, okay.
Isn't that fascinating? Like, super I used to say, isn't that fascinating, all the time, in a very sarcastic way. Because when they're doing the smudge...
Yeah.
He's like, oh no. He's like, well, this paper's really nice. It's, but it smudges.
It's the most expensive.
And she's like, it's the most expensive paper. And he's like, look, it smudges. And sure enough, it smudged. Then she does it. For some reason, she smudges it and she's like, oh, isn't that fascinating?
And then she turns.
Oh, and then and you can tell.
Pissed.
And what she becomes is a wife, like the disgruntled, frustrated wife, Mr. Man. And she's like, why don't I just go and get that for you too? Anything else I can get for you? And like she just unravels all over again. It's goddamn, like one of the
she does not handle disappointment well.
No, but it's like a revving up, and it feels very psychological. It's very there's like a bipolar. There's like delusions, and I mean it's actually
so realistic in the way it happens too.
Yeah,
yeah.
Really quick, I rented this from the library, okay, and it was the 2007 edition. So it has all these extras, and one of them says the diagnosis of Annie Wilkes. Oh. And they actually have a therapist, a psychoanalyst
Isn't
on.
That interesting?
And there's like eight textbook situations with Annie. But they never feel cheap, and it never feels like that they're like making fun of mental illness.
No,
it feels scary.
Very authentic. Yeah. Very authentic.
Yeah. It's never like done, and it never feels cheap. Mm-hmm. Like it never feels like, oh, she's gonna go psycho now. Like it's like it is genuinely like a roller coaster, like a true emotional roller coaster of like what sets her off. Mm-hmm. And you can tell he's trying to figure out sort of what's setting her off,
right?
And like not like just really trying to play the game.
Yeah,
it's really scary.
Yes, and I did like how he was being very creative and how he was trying to fight back, you know, with the drugs, then with the knife, then with the typewriter, trying to build up his muscles of the typewriter and all that.
One thing about that is one other negative. She injects the shot. It happens very quick. He's drugged very quickly. But because the cop is showing up at the door, right?
Yes.
And I did think, though, I was like, I know his arm's still weak, and I know that, but, like, I mean, maybe this is revealing too much. I think I would have fucking grabbed her hair so hard and pulled it. Like, I think I would have, like, tried to rip her hair. Like, because at that point, you're going for broke. This is, like, this cop is walking. This is your friggin' chance to end this nightmare. Like, I don't know if you're just gonna like try and grab her part of her neck and like I mean I think I just would have been like, I don't know. I think he would have put in a little more effort.
Yeah. Although it did happen really quick. I mean she really did it like immediately, and we don't know what she was injecting him with either. Yeah. So I kind of said fine. I mean I agree, but he did fight really well. So, and even at the end when he was fighting with her, and I mean, she was a strong woman. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep that in mind as well. But
I also think they did their own stunts with that.
Oh, really?
Because they show a clip really quick in the documentary where he tackles her, the very first tackle. It's the two of them, and they fall on this like foam board.
Sure.
Thing. But it's really her, and she's even being interviewed, and she says the only thing that hurt was when he was bashing her head on the floor. She said there was a rubber mat behind her. She's like, but I mean, you're still hitting your head off a rubber mat. Yeah, She's like, so that wasn't fun.
I appreciated all of that. Do we want to take a quick break?
For sure, yeah.
Review the notes and come back with some questions.
Yes.
All right, we will be right back. Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pulp culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show. And we're back talking about Misery 1990, and basically it's our New Year's episode.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little.
Can we still say Happy New Year?
We can still say Happy New Year.
Here's hoping to a better year, 2021.
Goodbye, 2020.
All right, Christina. So
one more piece of the puzzle?
Sure.
Yeah, this is just my only last final thought. Oh, actually, I have two final thoughts, actually.
Right.
One more piece of the puzzle. She has a pet pig.
Yeah.
Called Misery. And did you know in the credits he's listed and it's actually his real name or her real name? Isn't that funny? And the only other thing, it's a little bit of a criticism, but the end scene with the fight and all that kind of stuff, the only thing I didn't really love is that whole last jump at the end when he's like, it's like one of those things that happens, like the killer comes back to life.
Oh, she jumps on top of him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really love when that happens.
Yeah, you hope the movie was smarter than that, but...
Yeah. That's my only other criticism.
Yeah.
But I love the movie. Absolutely recommend it. Guys, seriously, if you've watched it and you liked it, it's probably better than you imagine it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, it really holds up. It is so good. I like it even more on the rewatch. Yeah. Oh, one thing about James Caan. So we knew that Bette Midler was in talks for Annie Wilkes, but James Caan, a lot of actors turned this down. Everyone from, Robert Redford to Robert De Niro to basically anyone in 19...
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably Richard Gere. Although there's just a ton of people that turned it down. They just thought it was too dark, too violent, and all that. Warren Beatty... was very interested, and in fact, he had a lot of ideas. Some said maybe he had too many ideas for his character. But he couldn't. They couldn't get it. The timing didn't work out because he was finishing up Dick Tracy. So, they went to James Caan, and James Caan wasn't even all that crazy about it because he's like, I'm like an action, like not an action star, but he's much more about like acting, not reacting.
Yeah, I mean, he was more into sort of like mobster movies and stuff.
Like he's
right?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not. He's like, I just can't be a reactor to things. He's like, I really need to act, and
he did a
good job. He did a good job, and but I think he laid in the bed. I think was it 12 weeks or 15 weeks?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But anyway, an awesome performance. Anyway.
Awesome.
All right, so time for questions.
Yes. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? Doesn't make a difference to me. I have a question.
I have an FMK.
Why don't you go first?
Okay.
Okay.
Paul Sheldon.
Okay.
Buster.
Okay.
And Stephen King.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm mixing it up.
I was wondering who that third would be. I'm like, ooh, is he going to mix up the gender? Okay. Let's see. I think... Shorty, enough. I mean, I love you.
I mean, he's also yelling up a flight of stairs and through a door.
Yeah. He's got some pipes on him.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to marry Buster. I know you probably didn't get that. But I think that he's a good husband. I think he'd be fun, and I think they have probably a spicy little love life. I mean, I don't find him attractive, but anyway.
I actually thought he was handsome.
He's okay. I would kill Stephen King. Just because I don't find him attractive at all.
We got the F right.
Well, good for you. You thought I was going to marry Stephen King?
I did.
He's kind of a weird person.
But he's, lives in New England.
So, speaking of Stephen King, all right, this is a very long story. I'm going to make wicked short.
Okay.
My father's birth father.
Okay.
Last name is King.
Okay.
He never met him. His parents never told him anything about it. Over the past few years, my sister's done a ton of research, like genealogy-wise, and tried to track him down. Yeah. Come to find out, his last name's King.
Okay.
He's from Maine, a little small town in Maine. And it's the same small town that Stephen King is from.
Wow.
So it's possible, probably unlikely, but possible I have blood relation to Stephen King.
Wow, Christina.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to F him. Just in case. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, isn't that so strange?
That's so wild.
I mean, I don't think it's...
Have you ever done the genealogy thing? Does that interest you?
No, you know, we did it for my father, and my sisters have all done it. It just doesn't really... I mean, there's a lot of information about, like, your bloodline and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I know enough from what my sisters have discovered. And I know it's different, like your DNA is different. But it doesn't really... It's just almost like too technical for me. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Okay, so are you ready for your question?
Yeah.
Oh, what would you do? Would you do the same?
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, Stephen... I have to be honest, I think I would possibly even kill Stephen King. Yeah, that's what you said,
That's
right?
what I said, yeah.
I think the more I think about it, yeah. And that I would marry... Yeah, I guess I would. I would do the same thing.
Gosh.
I thought it would be more challenging than that.
It was a little challenging. A little challenging. All right, so here's my question for you. Paul Sheldon is writing something new.
Okay.
It's a biographical musical about Annie Wilkes.
Okay.
The title is called Annie, Get Your Blank.
You just made that up?
I was thinking about it on the
way
way
my
here.
God, that's so funny. Okay.
I already know what I'm going to write.
Yeah. But it has to, I mean, well, I don't want to say anything.
Too late. You've said it all. All my pages are falling out of this notebook. Matt, if you... Oh, it's already got to be past... Never mind. I'll do it this way. Like...
I read some article that, although the documentary didn't mention it, but that this is, I guess, about, it could be perceived as, drug addiction. That is, if Annie is the drug and trying to break away from an addiction.
Oh, interesting.
Like something that loves you so much but hurts you too.
I see. All right. I don't know. Oh, there it is.
I think it was on Mental Floss.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, Paul Sheldon is writing a new something. I forget how I said. Biographical musical about Annie Wilkes. It's called Annie, Get Your...
So, I have to explain. Because it has to sound like a musical. It has to sound musical. It has to sound... The title has to be catchy. So, I went with Annie, Get Your Axe. And I'm sure you probably have Sledgehammer. But
no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh.
You think you know someone.
What do you have,
I
Christina?
said, Annie, get your medication. But to your point, I could have said meds. Annie, get your meds.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be good.
That would have been good, too.
Yeah, because she needs meds for sure.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. Fun episode.
Good times.
Great revisit.
Good times.
Great revisit. And guys, seriously, if you haven't gone to our Facebook page, please go to our Facebook page because you're not getting this awesome content that we're putting on there. It's only reaching like 17 people each week. And we have video polls and fun games and movie recommendations and things like that. So please go there. But I guess that's it for this episode, yeah?
Mm-hmm. And that is it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please.
If you have an idea for the show or a suggestion or comment, you can email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Until next time.